I knew straight from the off, as soon as I woke up, that life was going to be different. He got shot twice because he just basically walked out into an ambush. 3, 2, 1, go. And as I ran past the doorway, the Taliban was sat there. First round went through my helmet, in my temple, and bounced off the bottom of my eye socket. Filled my eye full of blood, caused me a little bit of brain damage. Looked down, checked my legs, green trace around, went through my trousers. A red phosphorus grenade went off, which then burnt all my airways. It was chaos. I ended up drawing him a map, relaying that information back to him. Body armor come off, helmet came off, and that's when it dawned on me how bad the situation was, because he looked at me, went white in the face, said, "No, Alex, you need to be on the stretcher." They wasn't sure if I was going to pull through or not. I was in a drug-induced coma for 6 days, and the next thing I know, I woke up in Birmingham. When I got home, PTSD had kicked in. In my head, I was a 22-year bloke. To get it snapped away from me, pretty hard to deal with. Mental health, I was just sort of sat at home, just getting levered all the time. As long as I can wake up in the morning and, it's a good day.
Welcome to the Debrief, and this week I have a former Guardsman. Alex, how are you, buddy? You all right?
Aye, not too bad, mate.
Yeah, good to see you. I've seen you all over TikTok.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Love a bit of TikTok.
Yeah.
I want to be the generation that ruins TikTok, because I was the generation that ruined Facebook, so my generation's going to ruin TikTok and all.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm probably going to be a part of that as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. So I'm going to do the same with you as I do with all my guests. We'll go back, we'll visit little Alex, we'll find out where he was from and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Where were you from?
So I grew up I was born in Lincoln, then grew up out in the sticks, just outside Lincoln, in a little town called Horncastle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was about 40 minutes outside.
RAF bases out that way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's called RAF Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
Because, there's loads. Yeah, loads of RAF bases.
So what was you like? Did you come from a steady, stable family? Good background?
It was
Happy?
all right to a point. I had a roof over my head and food in my belly, so can't really complain. My mum and dad split up when I was 8, and then from there it got a bit rocky.
Who did you say with your mother?
Yeah, stayed with my mum, yeah.
And what do you mean rocky? Was she all right or just...
Well, she... I don't know how much to want to go into it, but she was a little unstable after the breakup. I think she's mentally unstable anyway, because she's half German, so... yeah.
But was there stepdads on the scene and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, there was a few stepdads that was a bit abusive and stuff, and then she got with her current partner now, that when I was about 11, because I was just going from primary school to secondary school.
Yeah.
So, and then it sort of settled down a little after then.
Okay. So
but I grew up on a council estate, so it was only so settled.
Yeah. So what were you like at school? You any good at school? Enjoy it?
I fucking hated it.
That's a straight...
Yeah, because I'm massively dyslexic, so I struggled heavily in secondary school, because although my mum was pushing to get me tested for dyslexia, the school just kept turning around and saying, no, he's just a lazy twat.
Yeah.
And disruptive, and he's just,
That's. I mean, in those days, I don't know how old you. In those days, that's what it was, wasn't it? There was no ADHD. Yeah. There was no perhaps take him off the coffee. It was like, do you know what I mean? He's
that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's a and he's just disrupting the rest of the class. He needs to get his head down.
So did you get anything done at school at all? Did you get any qualifications? Anything? Achieve anything?
Not really. I did get some GCSEs, but they was all really low marks. In fact, I actually got ungraded in geography, I think.
Does that actually go down as a U or something?
It goes down. Yeah, ungraded in geography because I fell asleep in the exam.
So look, outside of school, did you do any activities?
I played a lot of football with my mates around on the street and stuff like that, and partaked in extra activities, which I don't know how much you want to get.
I don't mind. You can tell me what you want, mate. Honestly,
being on a council estate, there's quite a lot of drugs going around.
Yeah.
So we smoked quite a bit of the green stuff.
Yeah. I get it. I come from I had a children's home background, and although I didn't massively get into it myself, there was loads of it about, and I tried everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I never got anything, never got into anything harder than a bit of weed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was lots of that, and there's always fighting and stuff going on
Yeah.
around. So yeah, there's lots of extra.
Good old council estate stuff. We like a bit of that, don't we?
I think I stole my first car at like 12.
Yeah, but they were easy to nick in them days as well, weren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it was my mum's car.
Proper easy to nick then. Got the key.
Yeah.
So, am I right in thinking you was in the cadets for a bit?
I was, yeah. So
Okay.
So as
how did that go?
Well, it was all right. So it was a. I always wanted to go down the line of military from a young age because when I was 3, the first Gulf War was kicking off.
Okay.
So it was all over the news, and I don't remember it because I was only 3. But apparently, I turned around to my mum and says, "Oh, I want to be one of them."
Yeah.
Didn't really think much of it until sort of 12, 13, and I was like, "Hang on, no, this is a way out of a disruptive background of a family and stuff." And I thought, right, the only way to do that is, start knuckling down, get into cadets, and go down that line. So join the local cadet force.
And what were they? What cap badge were they?
There was Grenadier Guards.
Oh, were they Guardsmen? Were they? Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
They were the same colour berry and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, were they staffed by any Guardsmen? Was there any Guardsmen there?
There was one that was sort of, he floated in and out because he was still serving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when he was on leave and stuff, he'd come back and help out. But
and how did you get on there?
It was all right, yeah. I mean, it was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was a different world to what we're in now. So, we were quite regularly shouted at and stuff like that as cadets. And, not necessarily punished, but, messed about a bit.
Yeah, more of a sort of like military.
Yeah, character building.
Yeah, character building military as opposed to So no. But did you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Did you get any rank or anything like that? Did you get the ranks?
I think I got up to Lance Corporal, but nothing.
The dizzy heights.
Yeah, dizzy heights for Lance Corporal, which I mean, without going down the road of different ranks within the Guards. Lance Corporal doesn't really exist.
No, it doesn't.
As such.
The corporal side.
You do have a Lance Corporal, but he's got 2 stripes.
He's got 2 stripes. That's right. Yeah.
And then you have a Lance Sergeant.
There's a bit of history behind that, and it's something to do with one of the kings or queens.
Queen Victoria or something. I was led to believe it was something to do with her eyesight. She couldn't differentiate. I don't know. I mean, I might be talking absolute rubbish. But,
right, you Guardsmen out there, calm down, all right? Calm down.
Yeah.
Regimental history was not my strong point either. So, yeah. I just heard that it was... I always knew that the Guards... Because they had Lance Sergeants on Junior Brecon.
Yeah.
And they were sort of like, what are you doing?
Yeah, with 3 stripes.
That's right, I couldn't get my head around it. I'm like, what? Why? And then someone said it was because some queen or king had said, you got that's the way it was. So you got through cadets. When did you decide that you were going to join the army? And was that sort of like, were you pretty made up during the cadets that you were going to join the army?
Yeah, I went into recruiting office at 15 and a half years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was committed then.
Okay. When did you decide you were going to go for the Guards?
Pretty much as soon as I decided that I was going to go in the army.
Okay.
Or give it a go again.
And was that influenced by your cadet time, was it?
Yeah, because as part of your cadet curriculum, you have to learn about your regiment that you're cap badged of, and it just appealed to me, and I was like, I fancy a bit of that. Quite good at drill.
Yeah, if you enjoy drill, I never really enjoyed drill, but it's each to their own, isn't it?
I mean, I wouldn't say I was
a drill pig.
Yeah, I was never a drill pig, but the sense of pride you get from it when you're doing stuff like Queen's Birthday Parade or King's Birthday Parade nowadays.
Oh, it's impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's like the sense of pride you get from it is phenomenal. Like, there's a little cool story so when I was on guard in Nijmegen Company in Tower, London, my mum come down to see me because it's one of the few guards where you can actually get stag positions where you can get up close to the guardsman. And anyway, she come down for the day and you do 2-hour stags. Yeah. So you're standing on in front of your box for 2 hours, not just standing there, but you're on stag for 2 hours. And she come down and she just sat there for the whole day, waiting for me to come on, and then did my stag, come off, and then went out into the courtyard and the rest of the Tower of London and walking around with her with my it was grey coat. It was in the winter, so it was grey coat and peak cap, and everyone was just stopping me and my mum just to take pictures because obviously it's just a Guardsman walking around.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So right, let's go back to you actually joining up. You go to the careers office. Was there a Guardsman in the careers office?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I've actually met him a few times since getting out of the army. So yeah, Sergeant Golden is his name.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So he sort of like there was a no-brainer there. You want to be a Guardsman. He's a Guardsman. Guards depot. You are teed up, and out you go.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so I walked into the careers office with my mum because at that age you need permission from your parents. And I just simply turned to the first guy I found and says, "Yeah, I want to be a Grenadier." And he was like, "Good, you come to the right place." Yeah, so and then it just sort of.
So where was depot for you then? Did you do a junior soldier thing?
Yeah, because I joined so young. I went to Harrogate to do phase 1 and further education, where you spend a year. Well, I don't know if it's...
A foundation college. Was it the foundation college?
Yeah, foundation college.
Foundation college. Great place, I think.
Yeah, I loved it. I think it was mega. You get to do loads of random stuff. Like I did.
Yeah, they go do battlefield tours and all sorts of real sort of, like, you're right, random stuff that you don't get in normal
as part
training.
of your curriculum as the further education, you have to do, I don't know if you do it nowadays, but back in my day, you had to do Duke of Edinburgh awards. So you have to do like extracurriculum sports.
Yeah.
I picked American football, which I did through most of my time there, and then actually went to America to play American football with college kids over there.
Mate, that's an advert for the forces itself, isn't it? You know what I mean? 16 years old in America playing American football.
Yeah,
I don't know any kids who've done that ever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was pretty
that's
cool.
Insane.
Yeah,
no, that's really cool.
One of my fondest memories of the army, that was.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that is good. Mate, I always go back to depot and I think about my time in depot, do you know what I mean? And I genuinely enjoyed depot. I thought it was great, do you know what I mean? And I was just a normal, regular, infantry soldier at an adult depot. But so you passed out. Where did you go?
From that, I then went to Catterick, ITC Catterick, to do phase 2.
And that's more screamy, shouty stamping up there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's.
I did P Company up there, and I remember the guards sort of like sharing the paras, didn't they?
Yeah. So the 3 regiments or 3 corps that train together, the guards, the paras, and the Gurkhas.
Yeah.
On, is it Lil side? No, Heli's side of the camp, and so we constantly. But I think they've changed it now because they've dropped the spider blocks and put new accommodation.
Oh, okay.
But, so like in one side you used to have paras, and the other side you used to have the guards, and then just sort of across the road was a Gurkha. So it was always something entertaining going off. I just
remember it was just the guardsmen were so noisy in particular, the way they scream and shout everywhere they go. It's like rah, rah, rah.
Oh yeah.
There's a proper screaming skulls up there as well, isn't there?
Oh yeah. I mean,
competition level screaming.
Yeah, I mean it's like you can when you hear them screaming, the instructors you can feel it as a bod. That scream is coming from the belly.
Yeah,
it's like,
blowing your hair back. Yeah. So how did you find that? Did you enjoy that there?
Yeah, it was all right. I biffed out though in training.
Oh, okay.
I went down with a heat exhaustion on tabbing out to one of the exercises, which put me on the biff for a bit. And then because I missed about 2 weeks of training, I then got back squadded to a different platoon. Yeah, which kind of. I spoke about this not so long ago on my TikTok channel actually, about the fact that I missed bayonet training.
Okay.
So through training I never did bayonet training because when I biffed out and went down with my heat exhaustion, that's when my current platoon did it.
We're about to do it.
Yeah, and then when I got back squadded to the 26-week platoon,
they'd already done it.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, so I managed...
Did you signal that up as a sort of like, can I do it, please? Or just thought, I'll swerve it?
Yeah, I didn't really think about it at the time. I was just like, right, okay. And then when it come to... No, I'm jumping forward a little bit. When it come to going to Iraq and stuff and, getting all your stuff, I was like, shit, hang on.
Where does it go?
Yeah. I knew where it went anyway because of the Guardsman side of me, but... Yeah.
I'm joking, yeah. So, fast forward, bring you back a little bit from Gulf Wars. What was your first posting? Where did you go as a Grenadier Guard? Because obviously you come out of Catterick, you are now fully fledged, fair skin issued.
Grenadiers go to what's called an incremental company, and it's called Nijmegen Company, based in London, and that's where you do all your ceremonial stuff. So
Okay.
you do all your Queen's Guards.
Because there's a lot in that as well, isn't there? When you think
Yeah.
about this, have you done the keys ceremony and all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sort of stuff?
done it. Yeah, I've done all of it. So yeah, Tower of London, which you got the 2 positions, stag positions. Then you have to do ceremony of the keys every day, and then there's a few other bits and pieces depending on what's going on in the castle, in the fortress.
Yeah.
So Tower of London, Buckingham Palace, St James's Palace, and Windsor Castle.
So which is your favourite out of those, would you say?
Windsor Castle is pretty cushy.
Is that because it's out of town a bit and out the way of the head shed?
Well, actually, no. The opposite is it is out the way, but like I was on guard at Windsor Castle once, and it was a baking hot summer's day, and I don't know if you've ever come close to a tunic, but they're really thick.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
Yeah, they're really thick, and you do like a few blokes go down. Like that's why they pass out on the birthday parade.
Yeah.
It's because they're just sweating.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I was out on. I can't remember what stag was. I think it's stag position 7, where you're looking down the 5 mile at the back. And Prince Philip walked past, and I was just getting a bit, starting to feel the heat a little bit. And as he walked past, he was just like, "Oh, you okay? You okay?" And then he took my bearskin and my rifle off me, threw it on the floor, and he says, "Oh, I'll go get you some water." And he buggered off, and I was like, "Hang on a minute, jeez." Obviously, I come to attention, banged out his general salute and stuff, and before this happened. But and he just took me rifle. He just literally just launched it on the floor. He didn't give a shit.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and then he disappeared, and I was like, "Oh shit! If the platoon or the guard commander comes around the corner now, I've got no bearskin, my rifle's on the floor."
But he told me.
Yeah, and anyway, before I'd got sort of chance to do anything about it, he'd come back with a jug of water and a glass of water and poured it, and he says, "Yeah, get that down, you lad." And sat there, and he says, "Oh, just have a minute, get yourself around the side of the box, out the way of the public, because the public can see you from where you are from down the main
savvy
gate."
Then savvy as well.
Yeah. So he's just like, "Yeah, get yourself around the corner, out of the way."
I'll do that for you.
Yeah. So that was another fond memory.
Yeah, that's mega. You don't hear stories like that, do you?
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean, you never hear stories like that. But I suppose he was quite a bloke, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he was definitely one for the lads.
Yeah. And if you see someone,
yeah. Also, I was Queen's Company within battalion, so like, without giving you a military history lesson, the Queen's Company within the Grenadier Guards, because Grenadier Guards are the first regiment of foot guards throughout the whole infantry.
Okay,
they are number 1.
Yeah.
They have a company called Queen's Company, which is what I was. You have to be when I got there, you had to be minimum 6 foot tall. Okay. And they are the Queen's bodyguard. Yeah. So back in ye olde days, when wars was fought in straight lines, our company would stay with the
monarchy,
monarch, as the personal bodyguard. Yeah. So because of that history to the royal family, every year we had garden parties with them, and we was invited to all sorts of stuff.
Did you come across the royals quite a bit?
Yeah. I've met most of them. Yeah.
What are they like with you as a serving soldier? Because I've come across but always sort of like stood there to attention. Never sort of like in a scenario whereby someone's sort of like, "Oh, mate," do you know what I mean?
Well, they are, but as a bod, you're very nervous.
Yeah.
Especially as a guy.
Scope for messing up.
Oh yeah.
In the eyes of the hierarchy in the RSM. So when I said something funny to Princess Di, and they're all like looking at, do you know what I mean? I knew I was going to be marking time with a wombat shell. Do you know what I mean? So I know that's going to happen.
Well, that's the sort of thought process in the back of your head. Like, don't say anything stupid, or offensive as well, because you can quite easily offend the.
So you met Charlie Boy and.
Yeah, met all of them. Yeah, Camilla.
Wow.
Yeah, all of them. I think out of the whole of the royal family, I think there's about 3 I haven't met.
Right, okay.
In person.
Who would you say is your favourite? Oh, have you got a favourite? Harry, yeah, okay, yeah.
Harry's definitely one of the lads.
And what was he like? Would he speak to you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He because he was actually serving officer within the household brigade, so he was Blues and Royals, which is like So you got the 5 guards regiments, which are infantry, and then you've got the household cavalry, which are the cavalry.
Yeah. Mountain cavalry.
They're the ones you see on horses, but they cut around on warriors and stuff on the battlefield.
Yeah.
So he served as an officer with them, but he was very much one of the lads.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't matter that he's got pips on his chest.
Really?
Yeah, he was one of the lads.
No, that's good to see. I like to hear stories. I mean, he's very much involved nowadays, isn't he? He does the Invictus Games and all that sort of stuff, and he wants to help. But I just wish the press would leave him alone, if I'm perfectly honest. You know, I mean,
I wish the
let
press
him do what he does.
I wish the press would leave all of them alone.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what they've been doing with Kate Middleton recently.
And it's like your lowest ebb as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? No, it's disgusting. I just think, you know what I mean? You know, they do this and that, but just butt out a little bit.
Yeah.
So you met all the Royals. What was your first operational tour?
So that was in 2006, shortly after getting to battalion, because I got to battalion in late 2005. And when I got to battalion, they was based at Windsor.
Okay.
About a month after I got there, we moved to Aldershot and was straight into pre-deployment training for Iraq.
Yeah.
In 2006, that was an interesting.
Is that quite, because the two contrasts in what you're actually doing? You know what I mean? One is they're cutting around in all this like finery kit. You know what I mean? Meeting royals, stood outside the thing, public attention, all that sort of thing. The next minute, you're like, right, you're going to war, lads.
Oh yeah. It's very much
that's a massive contrast,
turn that off, turn this on. Yeah.
And how are the blokes like that within the guards? Are they quite happy for that?
They
like a bit of that.
Yeah, they love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, it's good.
You wouldn't go in the guards if that's not something you can handle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had a few bods when I was in our Megan company that got doing the ceremonial stuff and then doing green exercises, what we call them.
Yeah.
And they was like, no, I'm done. And transferred to another regiment. Like, a few of them actually went EOD for some mad reason. I don't know why. I can't see the appeal of EOD.
No.
Yeah, I'd rather not just go walking towards
absolutely.
Something that's going to go bang.
I'll take my chances. Please, you know what I mean? It might go bang, but I'll try and swerve it if I can.
Yeah, that's it, innit? Yeah.
So you do your first operational tour. Where was that?
That was in Iraq. The first 6 weeks we spent in Baghdad.
Okay.
Just doing chaperoning 5-star generals around as security and doing supply runs back and forth.
Much going on? Any sort of like anything?
Well, that's where we got the first contact.
Okay.
And it's from an American unit.
Talk us through that.
Well, we was doing a supply run down to what was classed as the A1.
Yeah.
Which is from the green zone out to the airport.
That's right. You've been done it loads of times.
Yeah, airport's on the outside of the outskirts of the city.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, we were just doing a supply run down there, and we caught up an American clearance IED clearance team, and we just got a bit too close, and one of their rear gunners just fired a warning shot into the soft verge.
Really? I mean, what were you in? I'm taking
snatches.
Yeah.
With big Union Jacks in the window.
I've been up and down that road, but I've been up and down that road in Civic cars, and obviously you knew if you got close to anything American, you're getting something. Do you know what I mean? So we were really, really double careful. But if I'd have been in, and I've been up and down that road in a snatch as well. Do you know what I mean? And I've been top cover on a snatch, and I'm like, there should not be a problem here, should there?
No. I mean, it was obvious who he was. It was broad daylight, obvious who he was. But no, they just fire first, ask questions later.
Yeah. Anybody fire back?
No, we imagine that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? But no, I was on top cover of the front vehicle, and it was just like what the fuck? do I shoot back? But no, they just like over the comms, just like, no, we're turning around, we're going back, we'll do it later. So we just literally did a U-turn on the. Because it's like a motorway, isn't it? It's like a 3-lane motorway.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Just did a U-turn and was driving.
And when you were approaching the camp, you got all those chicanes to go through, which was murder for us, because now you stop down, and even if you want to reverse out, you'd have to be a reversing ninja to get out.
I know, you know what I mean? There's not much chance of getting out of that without a scrape, is there?
That's right. Yeah. So that tour, anything else of note on that tour? Really, quiet tour?
After that, it was really quiet because we was rear operational battle group, so we was gap filling. There was a gap in one unit going and another one getting there. So we was only supposed to be out there for 3 months, but ended up doing 5 months with no R&R or anything. It was a bit of a shit show. If I'm
Yeah,
honest,
one of
but,
those.
yeah.
Get on the truck. Get off.
Yeah.
Stay on the truck.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
after our little stint in Baghdad, we went down to Sharba Logistics Base and we was on the POW camp, just stagging on that.
What was that like? Because that got a bit of press, didn't it? The POW camp, didn't it? Was that before or after you was on it?
That was both. There was a bit of press before we got there.
So they must have proper been giving you some briefs going into there, as if to say, do you know what I mean?
I'm actually under the Official Secrets Act, not to talk about it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Then if we want to swerve it, we'll swerve it.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I can say about it is there was a chap in there from Birmingham.
Wow. Yeah. I can imagine. I can genuinely imagine.
But yeah, other than that, I can't really talk about it too much. But,
No, okay.
I mean, especially on a thing. I mean, me and you in a pub, I'm blabbing like an
yeah, proper. No, I get that. So that after Shiba, that was it. You done back home?
Yeah. So
did you go straight back into a sort of like marching ceremonial? Type role?
No. So when you so as guards regiment, if you're posted in Wellington Barracks in London, which is right next to Buckingham Palace, or Windsor, they're the two regiments that get dicked a lot for the ceremonial stuff.
Okay.
The one, so there's back when I was serving, there was 2 regiments in Windsor and Wellington Barracks, and then 2 regiments in Aldershot, and then the 3rd regiment, which was the Scots Guards at the time, was out in Germany.
Okay.
As QRF. So when you're in Aldershot, you are there. Like I didn't do it, but there was a troop and a colour that needed some bloke or a unit for. So they, I think it was the Irish guys that got dicked, if I'm honest. But yeah, so they're like the reserve for ceremonial stuff.
Okay.
Because then every 2 years you just swap over.
Right, got you.
Yeah. That makes sense. Have I explained that
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I've got you. So there's a rotation and everything's covered all the time.
Yeah.
So so after you did Iraq, what was your next? What did you get up to then?
Well, after that, I just went home for 4 weeks, got levered and dealt with whatever, because we did see some pretty horrendous stuff. I mean, you've been to Baghdad.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant.
No, it's not. It's not really,
It's because when I got back, my mum says, "What's up with you? You're not the lad that went to Iraq.
Yeah.
You're different." I didn't see it personally at the time, but like since then, and even now, I talk to my sister and stuff. She says, "Yeah, you definitely changed when you was out there.
Yeah.
Don't know how or why or what, but you changed. You wasn't a young lad anymore. You was a bloke.
Grow up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even I remember going to Northern Ireland early doors. Do you know what I mean? When I was young, so that was my first operational tour. And I think you went out there a boy and came back a man.
Yeah, that's what they say, isn't it? Yeah.
Came back completely different view on life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, massively.
To what I'd heard before.
Yeah.
Probably a little less jokey now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In some respects, but then in other respects, more jokey because there's I couldn't give any. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's the worst you can do to me now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So then, got home, did a bit of fucking whirlwinding, and then back to unit, and it was pretty much straight back into pre-deployment training for Afghan, because there was only a 6-month gap from getting back from Iraq and going to Afghan.
So now you're in a full sort of like operational cycle.
Yeah.
You are Afghan Iraq. So you do your Afghan training and off you go to Afghanistan. How was that?
Well,
where did you go?
I was attached to Royal Anglians when I went out to Afghan, because the Grenadiers was doing the omelette training, so training the Afghan National Army.
Okay.
And there was only a certain amount of spots to fill, and they wanted to get as many blokes on the tour as possible. So what they did to start with is the 3 fighting companies of the battalion. They sent a section of blokes over to the Royal Anglian battle group, the Viking battle group, sorry, and just like infiltrated into their fighting companies. And then it sort of turned out that, well, there's a full company of blokes that's missing out on a tour. So they just made what I think it's called 3 Company out of thin air of just blokes that was left.
Yeah, just anybody
and then,
they get around.
Yeah, and then attached them as a full fighting company to the Viking battle group. So yeah, I did all my pre-deployment training with the Royal Anglians.
Okay.
Yeah, which was...
They're all right, aren't they?
That was a shock. Going from Guards to Anglians, that was a shock. Because obviously, in the Guards, you're very much officers are sir.
Yeah.
Nothing less. Got to the Anglians, and the platoon commander, which is an officer, was, "All right, boss.
Yeah,
It's very
the county
diff-
regiments,
yeah.
and they are really a county regiment, aren't
Yeah.
they? The county regiments are probably a little bit
Yeah,
less
yeah,
than that
it's-
because you got this thing with the guards, I suppose, where the Rupert in the guards is on public display all the time, so that
Yeah,
that element has to be there all the time. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they just enforce it. Whereas I know my son's an officer now, and he probably wasn't as bad. In the PWRR where he was,
yeah.
blokes called him boss. He'd be happy with that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He wouldn't be sort of like, "Hey, call me sir, stand up and put your finger up."
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's the yeah, and that was the
Yeah.
that was the biggest shock is like going from the guards to the Anglian is the change in how you approach senior ranks.
Yeah.
Just because like even like the platoon sergeant, which in the guards is definitely sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Or-
there.
or-
I mean,
yeah.
he is that guy,
Yeah.
isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
He's the dad of the
Yeah.
dad of the platoon.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
know, you got your platoon commander, that's mum, that
Yeah.
does all the admin, and
Signs your leave
yeah,
shit.
yeah, that's it. And then you got the platoon sergeant that's very much dad and discipline.
Yeah.
And when we got over to the Anglians, it was still that infantry unit, an infantry unit.
Yeah.
But then when we got to I still talk to him now. Steve Armand.
Yeah.
I forgot his name then for a second, but yeah, I still talk to him
So
now.
what rank were you then? Were you
I was
guardsman?
I was a guardsman, yeah, so
Okay.
a private, yeah. It's just getting over to the Anglians, and there was talking to the platoon sergeant. He's just like, just call me Steve.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, like what? No, you're a sergeant.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
call you
yeah,
anything
yeah.
other than. And it was for the eight blokes that as guards that was attached to him, just blew our fucking head off. It was a wild concept to go from one to the other. But it just got into pre-deployment training, settled in really, 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 really well. Because there was a really good bunch of lads.
Yeah,
so
they're great people, the Anglians.
Yeah.
I've got nothing but praise for them. I've come across them a few times, there's a bit of cross-pollination into the PWRR scene, and I've met them through my nipper, do you know what I mean? So I've got a lot of time for the Anglians.
Yeah. I mean, my brother was an Anglian as well.
Okay.
But he was 2nd Battalion.
Right,
So
because that is what they got: poachers, Vikings, and they're all
so
different names.
Vikings is 1st Battalion,
Yeah.
which is mainly Essex, London area.
Yeah,
And then you've got the poachers, which is 2nd Battalion, which is what my brother was. And they're Lincolnshire and the northern counties.
that's right.
And then you've got the Steelbacks, which is reserves now.
Okay, yeah.
That's
yeah.
their battalion.
So you get out the door on this operational tour into Afghanistan. Whereabouts did you go? What was your job?
So I went straight into Camp Bastion.
Okay.
Spent less than 24 hours there, and I was straight on a Chinook up to Kajaki.
Okay.
Yeah, which is
Lively.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk us through your tour. How it went. High points, low points, that sort of stuff.
Well, we didn't, as you well know, when you go on a tour, you have about 2 weeks acclimatization, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have any of that.
Yeah, bang. That's
it
gone.
was literally
No time for that.
Yeah, we was taking over the Marines, and they'd had a tough tour.
Yeah.
So they was wanting out as soon as. So we
Did that put a damper on things at all for you, knowing that you've just had an absolute nightmare of a tour and we're taking over? How did you feel about that?
at the time we didn't really when we was going up and getting there, we wasn't aware of the situation because we was too preoccupied with pre-deployment training.
Yeah, cool shit.
You know, because as you all know, you are in it and you are living it.
Yeah,
and that is all you live.
Yeah.
At that moment in time when you're doing pre-deployment training, so we didn't really know what the situation was out on the ground. And this was back in 2007, so stuff was changing very rapidly.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And so when we got out there, we walked off the chopper. The Marines walked on, and the handover takeover was done by their sergeant major. And we literally got there, and as soon as we walked off the chopper and walked up into the fob, because the helipad's a bit sort of down the hill.
Yeah.
And walked into the fob, and they was literally just throwing ammunition at us, and we were like, oh, okay, like fucking stacks and stacks of it. Here, have some HE. Here, have some red Foss. Have this, have that. And we were like, oh, okay, right, this is going to be a good tour. Getting all this ammunition is going to be interesting. And then as soon as we sort of bombed up and ready to go, the Sergeant Major of the Marines says, "All right, yeah, you good to go? Yeah, cool. Right, I'll take you somewhere to have a scrap." I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll take you out on the ground to have a scrap with the Taliban. Oh, right, we're going now. Like literally less than 48 hours in country,
Yeah.
and we was out on the ground picking a fight with the Taliban.
Okay.
It was from a distance.
Yeah.
But
you got some.
Yeah. We was.
How did you find that first time? Was that your first time in contact?
Yeah.
Proper contact. I mean, a full-on two-way. Gonna have some, give some back.
It was, but because I was point man in my section, on long distance contact, I don't really see an awful lot because there's not an awful lot I can do with my little pea shooter.
Yeah.
Unless I'm kicking doors down and doing proper infantry stuff. So for me, I didn't really feel or see an awful lot.
No.
Obviously, I heard
bit of whizzing, bit of popping, but nothing really flicking by.
All the GPMGs and the mini me's and stuff going off. I heard all that, and I was feeding my GPMG.
Yeah.
Or my section's GPMG, because as a point man, when you're in a support role, I just double up as a GPMG support gunner. So I'm just clipping belts on for him to rattle through. So obviously I saw all that, but there's nothing really like super close.
Yeah.
Until a couple of days later, we went back out on the ground to a different area, Kajaki Sofla, and there's me and my number 2 sat side of a ditch underneath a tree. The tree was in between us. Just to his right, and there was a branch that sort of came down and was sort of just between our eye line.
Yeah.
And we was looking over this poppy field, and we were like, fuck. And we noticed there's a bloke popping up, looking around, going down, scutting her off, popping up somewhere else. And we was like, what the fuck's this dude doing? Because we was told there was no civvies in the area.
Yeah.
There's no farmers, it was literally us and the Taliban. And we was like, fuck. And it sort of dawned on us, all right, he's a dicker.
He's lining us up.
Yeah, he's working out where we all are. And just as we was about to call it in on the radio, I'd literally had my hand on my PRR about to call it in. And next thing we knew is snap, snap, snap. And we were like, the fuck was that? And I went to look at my mate Chris, who was literally probably like 2 meters away. And as I looked over to him, the leaves from the branch between us was falling, and we were like, "Oh shit, we're getting shot!" Oh wow, okay, this is exciting now. So adrenaline spiked.
Yeah.
We just jumped in the ditch, shouted contact. But we just like sort of didn't freeze, but we just like a bit. Do we try and get up and shoot? But they just looked at each other and started giggling like little schoolgirls. Just like,
it's the funniest, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a wild concept to even like think about, but it is hilarious. At the time.
No, you're right, and I understand that feeling.
Yeah. So from then on, it was all pretty close quarters, kicking doors down and seeing what's behind it. There was some. I think my longest firefight we had out there was about 36 hours.
Oh, that's a long old time to be under contact. Isn't it? I've been on contact for 36 hours, certainly.
Yeah,
so that's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't full on bullets flying either way for 36 hours.
No, but toing and throwing, trying to make a bit of ground, trying to get left, trying to get right.
Yeah,
I know the score. Yeah. But that's a long old time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You're not sleeping in that time, are you? You've got to remain switched on. You've got to, you're probably not even feeding yourself in that time properly, are you? Do you know what I mean?
You're just snacking
biscuit
and
down your face, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, he's just trying to keep energy levels up and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was a wild 36 hours to get through. And then it's just steady away, daily, nightly routine. Just going out.
Did you find it became sort of like the normal?
Yeah. I mean,
we go. Here comes some more shit. What sort of casualty rate were you taking? Were you taking many casualties?
We took our first casualty about 5 days into the tour.
Okay.
And that was the top gunner of a Wimmick that was on a bit of an hill. The sniper was aiming for the driver's head, but missed. And it went between driver and commander and went through his pelvis.
Okay.
That was our first casualty, and that was a bit of a shock of oh shit, okay, we could.
Yeah, people are actually getting hurt.
Yeah,
this is real.
Yeah, this is real.
I think that a casualty does bring the reality, whether you hear the casualty, see the casualty, hear about the casualty.
Yeah.
When you're in theatre, once people start actually bleeding, you're like, wow.
Yeah. So, it is, although it was the feeling and, you hear the man down over the radios and stuff like that, and you hear the Cadivac, procedure being put into place and all that stuff. Like, for us, for me personally, I can't speak for everybody, but I was a bit, what's it called? Away from it.
Yeah.
Because it was
detached.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, detached. I was a bit detached from it. So, because I was, making sure Taliban, doing what I do as a point man, and it was happening behind me. So I didn't really connect wholeheartedly to it. But then when I got back to camp, that's when it kicks in. Yeah. Which it does for everybody.
Yeah. I call it the Glad to Be Alive Club. You come in, the reality's hit you, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was close.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
those leaves falling out of the tree, suddenly you're like, ugh.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, you don't really think about it when you're out on the ground, because you've got stuff, you are in autopilot to a degree, and you are concentrating on what you need to be concentrating on. And then when you get back into camp, you take your helmet off, take your body armor, put your rifle down, you go, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Whew, that was wild. So that's when it sort of kicked in for me for the first casualty when we got back to camp. And then about three or 4 days before I was injured, we had another casualty that stepped on a anti-personnel mine in a bottom of Wadi. And he was one of the gun groups. So on that particular patrol, they switched me out with the GPMG gun and just to give the GPMG gun a rest, I suppose. Yeah. So I was carrying the GPMG, and they bunched. We was only going out on a recce, so they bunched all the GPMGs together as a gun group. And I was about 3 blokes in front of him when he went off. But I was the closest to medic as well, so like trying to going into autopilot mode was like, oh, hang on, minefield. Yeah, I need to start prodding and poking. And at that point, I was just like, no, I'm just fucking getting to him, sorting him. Yeah. But by the time I'd sort of discombobulated all that information and just gone, platoon sergeant, medic, loads of other people had made the same decision and just ran, and we was just sorting him out on the ground, and was like, okay, let's get you out. Golden hour and all that.
Yeah, cool shit. You've got to take those considerations, haven't you? You know what I mean? Because you could take an hour to get to him if you were going to prod your way in.
That's it, yeah. Because have you seen the film Kajaki?
I've seen a little bit of the film, yeah.
It's good film. Yeah. So that's the film really touches on the golden hour and how awkward it is in a minefield.
You're stuck, aren't you?
Yeah,
and that's got to do something.
That's why one of them ended up dying, because they just couldn't get to him quick enough to then get him out. Yeah. Which was a fun fact, actually. While we was up there, and when we went up onto the OPs on the top, we as you go from, I can't remember what the names are, but when you go from one OP to another, you have to follow a line of white rocks that's obviously been cleared, and then off to the right is where you see all the kit. Because when we was there, because the Marines took over from the Paras, which is what that film was based on.
That's right, yeah.
And then we took over from the Marines. So
when the gear was still in the...
Yeah, all the gear, weapons, everything was still in the minefield. Yeah, which was a sombering moment.
I was going to say, that must be quite eerie to walk past that, knowing what's going on there, thinking, oh...
Yeah.
I mean, because sometimes the natural thing in a contact is to try and get yourself into a bit of cover, to try and take left, right, to break track and all that sort of stuff. You can't when you're on there, can you? So you're like, wow. Yeah, what a horrible place to get contacted.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty.
And that's a reminder on your way. Yeah, go on, jump off the track, son. Go on, I dare you.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, because we was told in our pre-deployment training, we focused heavily on mine strikes, because up in Kajaki, when the Russians last invaded and they got their asses kicked and moved on by the militias, they couldn't get out of the country quick enough, because they was lit, and so what they were doing is literally pushing boxes of landmines out the back of airplanes and stuff to get away quicker, to get rid of the weight. And so the whole area scattered with landmines.
Yeah. What a dangerous place. That's proper dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just washed down through wadis and
I
stuff
suppose
like
the
that.
Taliban would have known that. They would have known roughly the areas a lot better than you did.
Oh yeah.
Would have been able to sat there thinking, "In you go, boys."
Yeah. It's also when we got there, there was the Russian HQ building that was still standing, and as an introduction to the area, we went to this building, and I've got pictures of it somewhere on a
You have to
memory
send
card.
them in. We'll stick them in under here. We'll stick them in while it's rigging.
Yeah, but So we went to this building, and the Sergeant Major was basically telling us what's gone on with this building, and as the Russians was pushed down off the mountaintops into the HQ building, is basically a last stand.
Yeah.
And this build, you didn't really think about it at the time, but when you walk up to the building, it is peppered with holes.
Yeah.
Absolutely peppered with
They've
holes.
had a proper scrap there, yeah.
Oh yeah, proper go-to.
Yeah.
And we was I can remember walking up to it and thinking, oh, these bloody holes. Oh, that's what them holes are. Yeah. So and then
it's quite surreal sometimes, stuff like that.
It
You
is.
suddenly sort of like go, that's a bit odd.
And to get a real good, like the only way to get a proper feeling of how much of a scrap that was is to be there effectively.
Yeah.
And so we were walking around it, and we went into the building because it's still accessible and stuff, and it's still structurally sound. And the Sergeant Major of the Marines was sort of talking to us about what had gone on here and so on and so on. And long story short is there was two Russians left that had managed to barricade themselves upstairs. Eventually, they ran out of ammunition, and Taliban militia got hold of them. Excuse me, skinned them, rolled them in salt, and threw them in the turbine.
Nice.
Great. What a way to go,
days, yeah. How's your morale, lads?
Yeah. So it was very much. What I found about that building, found really interesting about that building, is that the militia and the Taliban have got no qualms with using RPGs as room clearance devices.
Yeah.
Which
right,
I you think of an RPG as a long distance weapon system, don't you?
No, I see stuff like that in Syria as well. It must be a thing from over that sort of like that side of side of the globe, because they don't backblast.
Yeah, because as we was walking up the stairs, it's one of them staircases that sort of got off going one way and then a bit of a landing, and the other half coming the other way.
Yeah.
And part of the story was that they barricaded the top of the stairs to stop them getting up. So at the top of the stairwell, there's a great hole, and I'm talking, I don't know, probably a good 1.5 foot hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, what's that? And he says, oh, that's an RPG. What? Where did they fire it from? And it's like, there was like halfway up the stairs.
Stairwell.
There was halfway up the stairs. We was like, what? Oh my gosh. Do you know what I mean?
Man,
that was a bit of a wild and surreal
was it
moment.
that tour that you got injured on, was it?
It was, yeah.
Can you talk us through that?
Yeah. So it was early morning, normal routine, fighting patrol. We was going out. The description was that going out, finding tunnel and trench systems, which Taliban had loads of.
Yeah.
Finding them and basically just blowing up so the Taliban can't use them and stuff. And as we got to location or the FRV, I was first man across poppy field into the first compound, what had been mortared 24 hours previous. So there was a nice U shape in the side wall of the compound. Straight in, started clearing rooms in the first compound. Come across, I think about third room I got to, I found a hole in the back of the room.
Yeah.
So as my job, I'm watching that now. So the rest of my lads bounced past. And when you must have had it a few times where you're looking at something and you're going, there's something in that. There is something in that. Yeah. It's just gut feeling.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm expecting either a grenade or a body to start to roll out of that in a second.
Yeah.
So I was, itchy trigger finger, and I was using I had a light thing on my rifle with a laser guide. I can't remember what they're called. But yeah, basically like a light and a laser on my
Yeah,
rifle.
like the Yank book, the little square box with the
Yeah,
two.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
got the ones. I can't
Yeah.
remember what they're called either.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
but
remember
never
what
mind.
they're Yeah, so I was using that just to sort of shine a light on it and
Yeah.
put the laser on it, so whoever was in there knew I was pointing at
I've
that.
got you. Okay,
Yeah, I'm fucking watching his hole, big man. So yeah, yeah. So I was watching that, and then the rest of the platoon moved through, and there was a bit of a confusion between where the platoon commander had gone and the platoon signal had gone through the wrong doorway, effectively initiating a contact because he just basically walked out into an ambush. He got shot twice. Yeah, I mean he was all right because he's got one of them got his love handle on his side, and the other one bounced off the top of his radio.
How used to go to Greg's?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so he was quite a chunky lad, actually. Funny enough, which probably saved him. But yeah, so one got him in his love handle, and the second round bounced off the top of his radio and went through like the fleshy part of his shoulder.
Yeah.
So he was, although injured, taking 2 rounds, he was all right in consideration. So because of that, my section, which was known as suicide section, within our platoon, because every time there was an op on, or we was out on the ground and the platoon sergeant needed a volunteer section,
It was your section.
our section commander was like, "Yeah, we'll do it."
Yeah,
like we'll do it. So we was nicknamed suicide section because we would just run into anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, we was tasked to, right, you boys are going forward. You're going to be the first bounce, and we're going to take these lot. So I was given my brief of, right, that's the doorway you need to go through. And at that point, I looked across the it's not really a compound, it was like a courtyard made up of compounds. And I looked across it. I'd been replaced by this point.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to leave this hole until somebody else was watching it. Because I just didn't. I just knew. So yeah, I was looking across this courtyard where I was tasked to go forward, and I looked at this big iron gate that the platoon sergeant was pointing at, and I was like, yeah, there's a lot of holes between me and that. There's a little compound just round the corner. There's a compound over there that's got a gate slightly ajar. We know there's rounds bouncing around this area. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that they're coming from them 2 locations. This is all going through my head at,
gazillion miles an hour.
Yeah. So I flagged up to platoon sergeant and says, do you want me to clear the little compound first to then bounce on? And he was like, nope, it's too small. Don't worry about it. Just bounce on, get to the big compound. That's where they're at. And I was like, but what about the hole? That goes somewhere. I know it goes somewhere. And in my head, I'd sort of drawn a map of, like,
what was going on?
The bird's eye view map of what sort of where that hole could have possibly gone. And the only thing I could think of is that little compound. And I was like, there's going to be blokes in there. I know there's going to be blokes in there. I need to clear that first. And he wasn't having any of it. He was like, nope, just go for the big compound. That's your target. Go for it. Just ignore it. And I was like, okay, time to put my big boy pants on. See what happens. So, I got my countdown. And as I was counting down, 3, 2, 1, go, ran out the doorway, crossed the wall, and then right angled it in front of the small compound. And as I ran past the doorway, the Taliban was sat there waiting and opened up. The first round went through my helmet, in my temple, and bounced up bottom of my eye socket. Knocked me clean off my feet.
Yeah.
Which is,
Did you twig to it straight away? What happened?
No. At first, I thought they'd fired an RPG and it hit the wall.
Yeah.
And as you'd want, the RPG arcs out, doesn't it, from its target? So I thought the RPG had hit the wall
and you've been bundled over by that.
Taken like that side of my face off because it just went all numb.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't feel any of it. I mean, I still can't feel some of it now. But I've later found out that it's because you've got 2 main nerves that control that either side of your nose, and as the round had bounced off there, it severed that nerve, and that's why that side of my face went completely numb. But I didn't know that at the time. I was like, I can't feel my face. Shit. So as I was on my hands and knees, I was like, but this isn't where I was a minute ago. Shit. It's worth noting it didn't knock me out either.
No.
So yeah, as I was on my hands and knees, I looked for my rifle and I was like, shit. Because as a point man, you don't have your don't have your rifle on a sling because you have to have it a weird, wonderful.
Yeah,
angle.
yeah,
It
yeah. Of
just
course,
doesn't work.
yeah.
So I had mine wrapped around me thinking, I know there's going to be a lot of platoon sergeants like that. But yeah, it's just
You weren't there.
yeah,
Shut up.
yeah, it's just
exactly. You know what I mean?
just what we was doing at the time.
Yeah.
So so I looked for my rifle and I was like, oh shit, it's there. And as I reached, it was just sort of just out of arm's reach.
Yeah.
And as I reached out for it, about 30 enemy rounds bounced off it. And I know there was enemy because there was green tracer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to fucking leave that there. I don't think I need that anymore. So I was like, at that point, I realised, hang on, my face is fucking like, not hurting. What's going on here? So sort of looking down at the ground, as I put my hand to my face.
Could you see from that eye at this stage?
No,
or that obviously.
No, the eye was fucked.
Yeah.
It was still there inside my head, but
it
was.
Yeah,
fucked.
the old round's done a number on it.
Yeah, because what it had done is it had pushed it up into my brain and squished it.
Yeah.
Caused me a little bit of brain damage, and it basically filled my eye full of blood.
Okay.
Kinetic energy and shit. So as I put my hand to my face to try and work out what was going on with my face, I was like, oh no, it's still there. And as I sort of pulled my hand down back to the floor, that's when I saw the blood.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is bad. Because it wasn't like little drips. It was a stream.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, this is bad. I need to get out of here. So then I then checked my legs, as you do as an infanteer when you shit at the fan.
Yeah.
Check my legs, make sure they're still there and working. And as I looked down, checked my legs, a green tracer round went through my trousers. That was not close enough to like penetrate my skin, but close enough to burn me. So I've got a nice little scar on the inside of my knee now. And I was like, okay, yeah, definitely need to get out of here. From that, just sort of look around.
Did you know which direction you needed to go at this stage? Or
Yeah.
So you knew you still complimentous enough to know.
Yeah, I was
right. That's where I was going. That's where they are.
Yeah.
That's where my mates are.
Yeah. So at this point, I looked around. I was like, all right, yeah, that's the compound I was going to.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that compound. There's rounds coming out of there, and then there's still rounds coming out of this one. At some point, while all this was going on, the rest of my section had thrown grenades, HE grenades, into the small compound.
Okay, so they're suppressing this stuff.
Yeah. And there was a section on the safe compound behind me that I just ran from. So all hell had broken loose by this point. It was chaos. In fact, it was that close that apparently I can't remember because I had bigger fish to fry. But apparently there was literally throwing grenades at each other, the Taliban and my platoon.
Yeah.
There was literally throwing grenades from one. But yeah, I don't know how true that was. That's probably just a story that I've been told to make it.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
We like it. Keep it in there.
So as I looked around, I was like, oh shit, yeah, okay, I know where I am. I need to be back that way.
Yeah.
Because I was running forward at the time of injury or time of impact, I'd sort of gone in front of the doorway that I was shot from. So as I got back onto my feet and got back to the wrong side of the doorway, I was the section commander of the section that was on the roof from the safe compound suppressing. He was counting me down. And he says, right, 3, 2. I wasn't waiting for go. I went on 1.
Yeah.
And a red phosphorus grenade went off. Oh no, I forgot about the fucking grenade shrapnel. So yeah, you know what I was saying about the lads.
The grenades being lobbed about.
Yeah, lobbed in the compound.
Yeah.
While I was on the floor, a bit of that got me in the arse cheek, which actually hurt more than my face.
I've been whacked in the arm by a grenade, and it does.
It stings, doesn't it? It really stings.
It's
yeah.
like a proper slap on the thing.
Yeah,
isn't it?
so I mean, it was only probably like a 10 mil bit of shrapnel.
Tiny bit went in my arm.
Yeah, so that really fucking stung my ass. So I was like, nope, time to fucking go. So I got to the wrong side of the doorway, started getting counted down, and I wasn't waiting for go. I went on 1. A red phosphorus grenade went off and got me just underneath my nose there, which then burnt all my airways. So then by the time I'd managed to run all the way back to the safe compound where the combat doctor was waiting for me. In that time while I was running, I mean, I say running back as if it's like a long distance. It was probably 20 meters, if that.
Yeah.
In that time, I'd managed to get my morphine auto injector out, thinking I'm going to get a hit now because I'm injured. yes, because I like that. I didn't even
In it
fucking
goes.
didn't even think about that. I was thinking about my arse, thinking I've been injured, I'm getting a hit.
Yeah.
So I've managed to prime it, get it ready, and as I ran back into the doorway that I'd originally ran from, where the combat doctor was waiting for me, I was just about to go like this, about to jab it into my leg, and he grabbed my arm and said, "No, you can't have that. You're an head injury." I was like, I was mortified.
How's your luck?
Yeah, I was absolutely mortified.
It's about 10 minutes in Tinseltown.
Yeah, I know, yeah. But no,
from you.
yeah, I was absolutely gutted. So, so then he started triaging me, body armour come off, helmet came off, because he thought I had a sucking, because I couldn't breathe very well, he thought I had a sucking chest wound as well.
Yeah.
But it was just the burnt airways. So body armour was off, helmet was off, first field dressing on my head. And he was doing all his triage stuff. And while he was doing all that, I was just like, I'm not bothered about this. Sort my arse cheek out. And he was like, what's up your arse? And I was like, well, it hurts. But it was that small of an injury. It wasn't even bleeding. It didn't even bleed in that much. So he was just like, there's nothing fucking wrong with it. I'm like, shut up, you idiot. Yeah, and then also while he was the combat doctor, we were doing that, the platoon sergeant was going around like a fucking headless chicken because there was a casualty, but he didn't know where the casualty was. And as a platoon sergeant, your priority is the casualty.
It's the casualty, yeah.
So he was like, well, where the fuck is he? Where is he? Where's the casualty? And I was like, I'm here. Hello. And he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, and I was trying to. So at that point, I was the furthest person forward.
Yeah.
So I'd seen the 3 compounds that there was firing at us from, or the 3 firing points. So I took that as an opportunity to debrief my platoon sergeant and said, look, no, this is a situation. Because I couldn't talk, I ended up drawing him a map of the 3 compounds we were getting shot at, where we was, and relaying that information back to him. And then because of that information that was relayed back, the decision was made, no, we're out, we're dropping bombs. And they just flat packed the whole lot.
Yeah.
So, so after I'd done that, and that's what I got writ up for that, and I got mentioned in dispatches for it.
Yeah, rightly so.
I mean, it's just a day in the office for me. I was just cracking on with it. So, so then we started withdrawing. And then at that point, I was passing out in and out of consciousness with blood loss.
Yeah.
Because I'd lost quite a bit of blood by this point, I'd imagine. Or that's what I was told anyway. From then on, it gets a bit hazy with the memory.
Okay.
The next thing I remember was hitting the ground and looking up and just seeing poppy heads explode. And I was like, oh, that's strange. What's going on there? I later found out it's because the platoon sergeant was casevacing me, and he'd got 2 rounds in his day sack, about that far underneath, about an inch underneath me.
Yeah.
Obviously into his back plate of his body armor.
Yeah.
That knocked him over, and that we both hit the floor. And it was in the poppy field, and that's where that image has come from. And then I woke up again. When they was trying to work out how to get me down a cliff into a wadi where the Casevac vehicle, I think it was like a Viking or something. There was not a Viking, that's tracked one. I don't know what. There's some new fantangled bit of kit.
The beast. We'll call it the beast.
They had the vehicle. The vehicle down in the bottom of the wadi that was Casevacing us, and by that point we'd taken another casualty.
Right. Okay.
So there was 3 of us injured at that point. But yeah, so I was stood at the top of the cliff, which was probably only about 8 foot tall, but they was trying to work out how to get me down. And I just sort of come round and I was like, oh, I need to be down there. So I just jumped. And luckily, the driver of the Casevac vehicle had been to the gym that day, and I had no kit on. So he just caught me and he was like, you all right, Alex? Yeah, are we going home? And then I just sort of walked to the truck, and the signaller who had been shot before me, he was sat on the side, and I said to him, get yourself onto the stretcher, because there's a stretcher in the middle. I was like, I'll get yourself onto the stretcher, you fucking shit state, you mate. And that's when it dawned on me how bad the situation was.
Yeah.
Because he looked at me, went white in the face, said, no, Alex, you need to be on the stretcher. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. You
Right.
come to Jesus then, didn't you?
Yeah. That was exactly it. Yeah. So I fell onto the truck or whatever, and then got driven back to the helipad for the Chinook to come in. When we got back to the helipad, I'd sort of woken up again, and everybody who wasn't out on the ground in the fob was down at the helipad to deal with casualties and stuff. And there was one chick from the artillery who was flying the drones that was attached to us.
Yeah.
And I just chose that moment to try and chat her up.
Mate, you got some alley-looking scars now. That's all right, isn't it? I mean, what better moment?
I was chatting her up in such a weird way as I can remember it. At the time, I had a missus called Lucy, and I was saying to her, can I call you Lucy? Because that's what my missus is called. And, just being really cringy. It was horrible. Looking back now, I was like, what the fuck, Alex? But
if she's out there, I want to speak to you.
So that was a weird scenario. And then the Chinook come in, and as the Chinook comes in, you have to wait for the crewman to give you a thumbs up to get you. Yeah, I won't wait for that. As soon as them wheels was on the ground, I was up and I was walking towards it. Apparently, the blades was about 3 inches above my head.
That would have done you a favour and all, wouldn't it? Would have been a proper.
Yeah, that would have done me in proper. Yeah, that would have been proper Rendex.
Off you go.
Then I walked onto the chopper, sat sat myself down at the front, and the air crew was a bit startled, like, holy shit, because I've got a fucking bandage on here and fucking all sorts of stuff going on. And he was strapping me in. And as he got up to walk away, I sort of grabbed him. I was like, oh, you got any pain relief? My head, because obviously adrenaline has started wearing off by this point. Yeah. I sort of grabbed him. I said, oh, you got some pain relief? My head is killing me. And he was just looked at me like, well gone out, like, what? I don't even know what to do with you.
Yeah.
Like the MERT team, that was out on the Chinook. They was dealing with one of the other casualties because he'd been peppered from head to toe with shrapnel and stuff.
Okay.
Obviously, the signaller that got 2 gunshot wounds and stuff like that. There was a lot going on, so they'd sort of not bypassed me as such, but I'd sort of just walk past because I was walking.
Yeah.
They wasn't overly concerned for me, from what I can tell.
Okay.
So I just walked past, sat down, and just chin
in the scheme of things, if you're not moving and you're on the floor, then you're worse than the person who's up and cutting around. Aren't you, I suppose?
That's exactly it. That's the way to look at it. Yeah, and then and the next thing I know, I woke up in Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's quite a gap of time then. So
yeah,
presumably they sort of like stabilised you, controlled you, put you in sort of like some sort of a coma and sent you home.
Yeah. So in that flight on the Chinook back from Kajaki to Camp Bastion, I'd been put on a stretcher and put under, and then there's actually pictures of me out there. That's while I was being transferred around the hospital in Bastion, and there's a chap called Pete, who's the clinical director of the field hospital, who was dealing with me on that day. And I got a picture of me getting laid on the stretcher, blood and shit everywhere, and he's breathing for me because I was knocked out.
Wow.
By this point, I've actually met him about a month ago now.
Really?
Yeah. So
how did that go?
Yeah, it was really good. It was a bit surreal, but it was really cool. Yeah. So yeah.
So you wake up in Birmingham. At what stage do you now sort of like say to yourself, right, what's gone on? Did you take stock of it straight away, or do you sort of like have to remember what had gone on?
I was really confused because I fell asleep in Afghan.
And woke up in Birmingham.
And woke up surrounded by, and I'm not being racist in any way, shape or form, but by a lot of Muslim doctors and women.
Yeah, you could have been thinking, where am I?
Yeah, so I was really confused because my mum was next to me. Yeah. And I was like, Mum, how the fuck are you here? How do you get here?
So you still think you're in Afghanistan, don't you? Yeah.
Well, I thought I was in Pakistan.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, how the fuck are you here, Mum? And she's like, what do you mean? And it's like, you haven't got a passport. How are you here? And she's like, well, where do you think you are? And I was like, I'm in Pakistan. And my mum obviously fucking like, oh my God, no, you can't say that. And anyway, apparently the nurses was like, oh, no, it's cool. we get it all the time. They fall asleep in a foreign country, wake up and surrounded by.
Especially if you come from that sort of a country.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So my mum was horrified, and it took me a good couple of hours to sort of work out where I was and what was going on, because I was in a drug-induced coma for 6 days.
Wow.
Flatline. So I got another claim to fame is I shut Birmingham International Airport down for 4 hours because on the flight back, because I was back in the UK within, I think, 24 hours. I was told, because I was, from what I can work out, is they wasn't sure if I was going to pull through or not.
Okay.
So they was like, let's get him back, because that's best place to get the right care.
Yeah.
And also, if he doesn't make it, we can keep him alive for next of kin to say goodbye, from what I can work out.
Okay.
And anyway, on that flight back, when we was getting back over the UK airspace, I flatlined twice. So they had to revive me twice while I was in the air. And that's why I closed Birmingham International Airport down for 4 hours, because I was too unstable to change altitude. So yeah, as soon as I was stable, they nose dunked it on the deck. There's an ambulance on the tarmac waiting for me, and I was blue lighted with police escort all the way through Birmingham to Queen Elizabeth's intensive care unit. And then I spent 6 days in a drug-induced coma, which was pretty fucking wild, because I can actually remember when my mum first walked in, which was day one, I think it was.
Yeah.
Because she said something like, "I'm going to start picking your mates from that one, because these don't seem very nice to play with." And I can actually remember hearing.
But you couldn't really respond. To
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was out cold, and even I've spoken to my mum about it since, and she says, "No, you was out cold." Surprised you actually remember that, and I was like, "No, I genuinely remember you saying that to me, mum." So that.
At what point does it all register that you're not going to see again and all that sort of stuff? I think you're going to have to.
Not for a couple of months, actually.
Really?
So I went through the whole process of just physically recovering, because of they wasn't sure how bad the brain damage was, so they had to do some tests for that. I spent another 2.5 weeks on a recovery ward till I went home. When I got home, PTSD had kicked in, so I'd hit the fucking alcohol.
You say the PTSD had kicked in. At this stage, did you know that your military career was finished?
To a degree, yeah.
Okay.
To a degree.
That doesn't help either, does it?
No.
Because you're sort of like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, I knew I wouldn't be able to carry on doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
I knew straight from the off, as soon as I woke up, that life was going to be different.
Yeah.
My military career, if there was going to be a military career, is going to be different.
Okay.
So I was very aware of all of that.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was fucking wounded. Yeah. No, more ways than one. But
No. I totally get it. You must have been thinking,
because in my head, I was a 22-year bloke. I had a full career mapped out. I was ready to fucking go the whole hog. So yeah, to get it snapped away from me, it was pretty hard to deal with. So then I was back at home, going through tests at Birmingham. I'd go down to Birmingham a few times in the first couple of months, because there was testing. At that point, I'd not lost my eye. It was still there. It was just still full of blood. So there was testing to see if there was any light getting through.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any definitive answer on that one. So there was just like, I think the doctors sort of come to me and says the best thing we can do is take it out, because if we don't, it's going to affect your other eye.
Right. Okay.
So that's.
And the other eye presumably is all right.
To a degree, I've got a contact lens in now, but so because of the way,
it's definitely better than no eyes.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely better than not having, either eye. So because of the way I lost that one, it's affected that one, and it's slowly, because it's taken on the stress of 2 eyes and stuff. Yeah, it's slowly deteriorating, but it's all right.
Okay, so you come out of hospital. Did you go back to your unit at all, or was it out of hospital, home? That's it.
Well, I was injured exactly 1 month into the tour.
Okay.
So I was back at home for 5 months until my unit come back.
Yeah.
But there was a bit of confusion because I was attached to the Royal Anglians. I'd gone down on their
manifest.
Their injury list.
Yeah.
And the guards had sort of not forgotten by no stretch of the imagination, but it somehow I'd got lost in the system. So yeah, I was just sort of sat at home, just getting levered all the time, trying to deal with stuff. Because at that, I'd lost one of my best friends that year as well. She was killed in a car crash about 3 months after I'd shot.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so she was a soldier too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, there was a lot to deal with that year in 2007. And then since then, mental. Well, it's not too bad now. First 18 months, while I was going through the medical discharge and rehabilitation and stuff like that, while still serving, mental health just
Plummeted.
Oh yeah, just absolutely took a nosedive. Yeah,
Did you get angry at all? Did you get?
I was angry. Yeah. I was upset. I was everything.
Yeah,
everything. I'd tried taking my own life a few times. There was it was a whirlwind of events.
Yeah.
And then
how did you get through those events?
First thing was focusing on my daughter, because in the process of going out and getting levered, I'd met my now missus.
Yeah.
And she fell pregnant very quickly. So that was a focus. You know, I've always wanted kids from a young age. And then when it actually came around, me being in deep dark hole of, you know, PTSD and depression and stuff, it was a bit of a anchor to hold on to and focus. No, I'm not going to let her grow up without a dad.
Yeah.
Also, my mum was quite good at being a mum.
Yeah.
She just had enough one day, because I was just out on the piss every night, getting home, doing daft stuff. She just fucking come in one morning and just whip the cover up. Nope, this is going to be the beginning of the rest of your life. Get yourself sorted.
Yeah, I think sometimes a truth like that is needed, and a requirement for someone to say, "Well, I'll tell you what, you've had your jokes.
Yeah.
Now sort yourself out."
Yeah.
You're right. Other people depend on you.
Yeah,
you know
that was
your
it.
daughter depends on you.
Yeah, I mean,
are you still with your partner?
Yeah.
Okay, so your partner depends on you.
Yeah.
Your mother obviously loves you. Do you know what I mean? You're not in a complete hole on your own, are you? Do you know
what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the thing. When you're in that hole, you think you are, but you're not. So it was a testing moment for me personally, because I had to come to terms with the fact that, yes, my military career is over.
Yeah.
You know, I've lost a good friend. There's lots of other stuff, little stuff that's gone on. I've got a new kid. I've got a new missus. Got a new house. Like, I need to focus. I need to get a grip of myself. I need to get moving forward.
Mate, you still got some air in your lungs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing that I always go back to when I get to my lowest ebbs is, it still goes up when I breathe in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so there's still something I can do about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, as long as I can wake up in the morning and, you know, it's a good day.
Yeah.
No,
you're right,
how that,
right.
Yeah. As long as, you know, it doesn't matter
that should
how
make
that
you smile from the start. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's fucking wild times going forward. I found myself in court because I'd had a bit of a scrap that I'd made a mess of someone.
Yeah.
And it was at that point my missus turned around and says, "Look, this isn't good for you. It's not good for us. It's certainly not good for the kids.
Yeah.
You are going to get help, or me and the kids are leaving."
Yeah.
And I was like,
shit, that's a proper wake up as well.
Yeah, that was a proper wake up, because I just.
Again, it's being told the truth.
That's it, yeah.
It's not being told what you want to hear. It's being told what you need to hear. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes you do need sucker punching to get the lungs moving 100%. Again, yeah. So, so then I started going down the line of recovery, and ended up doing 3.5 years of psychotherapy, which really pulled me out, and I'm in the best place I've been.
So let's talk about the here and now. Let's just pull you out of it, all right? Let's get airborne again. So what are you up to now? What are you doing now?
Well, I'm in the process of setting up another company, because I did a few years ago. I set up a landscaping company, but my body's too broken to carry on doing that, so I sacked that off.
Yeah.
I'm setting up my production company doing
Okay.
videos and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so podcasting, vlogging.
Oh yeah,
blogging.
so I
Come
also
on, sell me it.
Yeah, so I
want
also-
to help you here.
also do podcasts called the Bottom Third Podcast with a couple of other TikTokers.
Okay.
I'm also do stand-up comedy. I'm a director.
I've
of,
seen one of your TikToks.
Yeah.
I'm going to have you on here. I'm going to get you back in, and I want half an hour stand-up comedy from you, which I'm going to put out on our channel. I'm telling you. All right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, give you a bit of time to sort it, but yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
still fresh in the game.
we'll have you
but-
back. We'll have you back. But
Yeah.
it'll be
So
And I hope you're making some videos now, so there's a comparison to when you start to when you finish, because that's all
oh
TikTokable
yeah, yeah.
as
I
well.
mean,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, our first gig, because how that whole come about is I went on a course with the Royal British Legion.
Okay.
It was called Recovery Through Comedy course. And at the time, I didn't really look into it. I wanted to get into public speaking,
Yeah.
but like fucking shit myself when I was stood on a stage. So it fucking threw me off. So I was like, right, this is a good opportunity, and that's how it was sold. Of it'll build your confidence of public.
Well, getting on the stage is one thing. Getting on the stage and making people laugh is another level, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a totally different level. Yeah. So so when I got there, having a shake out of what the course was about, and we're going to learn how to do stand-up comedy. And I was like, oh shit. I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole different level to
Yeah.
what I thought I was getting into. So we did the week's course. Did a gig at an RBL club just down the road. That went down like a house on fire. It was absolutely received perfectly.
Brilliant.
Got a few big comics involved. Met Jasper Carrot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
in fact, he actually opened for us on that show, which
He
is
warmed
fun.
him up. He warmed him up. I mean, you warmed him up. You knocked him over. That's the way.
That's it. Yeah, so
we liked a bit of that.
yeah, so then they was that impressed with it. They decided, right, we're going to go on tour. So we did a few gigs around. We did the Royal British Legion, that annual general meeting conference thing. Then there was a Armed Forces Day gig, and then we ended up doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which was phenomenal. And then after that, that was the end of the RBL's holdovers as such. We'd sort of moved on, and we was like, well, no, we can't just sack it off there. So we've started up a CIC called Veterans Comedy Club.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to definitely look out for that. Listen, we are running out of time on this interview, unfortunately.
That's
But
cool.
listen, is there anything else you want to push, plug, mention?
UVG as well.
UVG?
Yeah, UK Veterans Gaming.
Okay.
I run their TikTok channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they are a really
Well,
good.
we're going to stick all the links to all the stuff you're doing below. So if there's anything you want to think of, obviously after this, get them in, and we'll get them all. They'll all be under here.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So make sure you click on it and go and have a butcher's. All right.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we want to get you involved. Look, I really seriously hope you become a friend of the show, and I hope you'll come back and do some more stuff with us at some stage of the campaign.
Yeah, massively, man. Yeah, well, looking forward to it.
Cool. Right, Alex, for now, thanks for coming. You have
You
been
too.
debriefed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice one. All right, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Happy days.